This is the Orion StarBlast 6i. That's I as in telescope. Orion's way of saying this scope has smarts. More about exactly what kind of smarts in a moment. The 6 in StarBlast 6 means 6 big inches of aperture. With this large light bucket funneling photons into your eyeball, you're going to see fainter objects in more detail. Sure, you can observe features on the moon if you screw a lunar filter into the back of your eyepiece so your eyes don't get blown out by the reflected light of the sun off the moon. And you can certainly catch planets in the act of being themselves, perhaps nabbing Jupiter's festooned cloud bands rolling across that huge world. But you really stand a much better chance of resolving the fuzzies of deep space with a scope like this. Nebulae, galaxies, star clusters, even comets. With this much aperture, you'd also be right to expect this unit to weigh something substantial. And it does, 23.5 pounds when fully assembled. But that's the whole beauty of Dobsonian telescopes. They're simple, they're inexpensive, and they're easy to understand. The big altitude azimuth mount, some call it a rocker box, lets you quickly rock and roll your way around the universe. So you can drive it. It even has a little knob to help you point it. But what's so intelligent about this telescope? Well, this telescope will point you to targets, but it doesn't swing to them by itself. In keeping with the spirit of Dobsonian telescopes, you are the driver. The onboard computer sort of plays a game of warmer, cooler, or Marco Polo between you and the sky. This type of system is called a push-to rather than a go-to because you push a little bit, the scope tells you to go in a different direction, you push again, you push again, you push again, and very quickly you're aligned on the object. One nice feature of such push-to systems, because your muscles are the motors, it takes much less battery power than go-tos. This Orion requires only a single 9-volt battery that can last for months. The telescope comes loaded with 12 tours, each an excursion through the month's best targets. Or you can actually work backwards. You can hunt your way around the sky until you see something interesting, push a key, and the display will tell you exactly what you're looking at. It's very cool. Setup is a bit different from other types of scopes. Funnily, this Dobsonian, which is supposedly a very simple design to build, gave our assembly crew the most head-scratching puzzlement of any scope we looked at. And look at the design. It's a tabletop telescope, but you need a pretty hefty and stable table, or you need some other kind of elevated, flat, level surface. What you don't want is to be spending your night kneeling or crouching on the cold ground, chasing objects around the sky, really being uncomfortable. Just don't be that guy, because what'll happen is you'll give up and pack it in sooner. The StarBlast 6 isn't small, but it's compact enough to fit into the front seat of almost any car. Dobsonians as a class of telescope really come into their own at sizes larger than this one, and Orion makes some great ones. Totally worth investigating, but we'll do that another time. I'm Dave Brody for Top 10 Reviews, where we research telescopes and other things, so you don't have to.